up guys, welcome back to Code with Clinton, and in this video I'm going to show you how to start building REST APIs with Django. You understand? So you're going to learn how to serialize data and convert them to JSON format. So this is what I'm talking about. So what are REST APIs? REST APIs is a way of providing data in uniform formats whereby different applications can have access to your data. You understand? So that's what REST API is, and the Django Rest Framework is a way of building RESTful APIs in Django. You understand? Django Rest Framework is a tool we use in building RESTful APIs using the Django web frame using Django. You understand? So what I want to do is this. So this is what I want to do. Let me show you. For example, here is my model. This is a simple to-do application. And here's my admin section. You can see the list of, I have these to-dos here. This is a list of to-dos I have in my database. What I want to do is I want to serialize this data. You can see I have this data here. I want to serialize them. I want them to look like this. Look at what we have here. I want it to look like something like this. I'm going to increase. I want it to be like this. You can see this is a to-do. Read my Bible. You come here, you can see I have read my Bible. You can see the ID completed status is false. You can see this looks like an API in JSON format whereby users can come in, as once they have the URL, they can fetch this data. So what I want to do is what I want to do is this. I want to show you guys how to serialize this data we have here to look like the one we have here. You can see these are all the to-dos I have in my backend. So if I want to get a particular to-do, I can just get their ID, simply come down to it. So I'm going to do this now. I want to get to-do, or just come down to this API, just say /API /get to-do / what is the ID again? Because the ID of this one is 39. Simply put 39 there. Can see I've gotten this to do, just a single to do. You understand? So now what I want to do in this video now is show how to serialize. Okay, how to serialize data. Let me log in again. Log in. So what I want to learn to do is how to serialize this data to look like the one we have here using the Django Rest Framework. So I think you've gotten the points of this tutorial. So in future tutorials now, after we've done this in the next video, I'll show you how to create for example, this is too big. I'll show you how to create an application. This is a to-do application that uses our API to fetch data. You can see this is an independent application that comes and uses our API to fetch data. You understand? So in the next video I'll show you how to build a to-do app that's going to use our API using the Django. That's going to use our APIs in the Django Rest Framework. You understand? So that'll be in the next video. But in this video I want to show you how to serialize this data to look like this one. So that's what I'll do. Let's get started with the video right now. Okay, so now let's start the tutorial right now. So you can see I have my Django project called Crude Django, the application called Crude app. This is just a simple to-do application. Here's my models.py file. Let me show it so you can see I have this simple model title. You see what we have here. So I'm going to simply add. I'm going to add some attributes now. Just say completed attributes. So completed is going to be a boolean field. Sorry for I should have done this before, but sorry. I'm sorry for that. Models dot boolean field. Boolean field, and default should be false. Equal to false. So that's it now. So I'm going to pause the video and run migrations. Okay, so I've already run migrations, already migrated everything. So that's it for this. So what I want to do now, I'm going to create a new app. Understand? A new app called API. I'm going to call my API. That's just a convention. You can call yours any name you like. So I'm not gonna use it. I'm not gonna use a normal way of start app. I'm just gonna create a new folder here, new folder. I'm gonna call this API because I don't need. So I just need. So I don't need those custom custom files like models and apps admin. I don't need them, so that's why I'm creating it this way. So I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna create a file called init.py inside of this init.py. This is another way of creating Django apps if you don't want to run the command init.py. So this init.py means that this is the Django. It's trying to tell us that this API folder I created is a Django package. So I'm going to create three more files. I'm going to call them, so new file, I'm going to call this views.py, and the other one is going to be urls.py, and the last one is going to be serializer.py. So that's it now. So this is a new application called API. So make sure it's registered in your CRUD projects. Open settings.py file, go down to where you have installed apps and add API. So that is it now. Okay, that's all we need to. That is all we need for now. So I'm gonna close all these ones. We don't need them again. Okay, so we've done this already. So next thing we need to do now is this. We want to install the Django Rest Framework. Come down to the, so here's the documentation for Django Rest Framework. So you need to install it. So simply run this command in your browser, pip install Django Rest Framework. So copy, and we're going to run this command in the terminal. So just come down here, Ctrl C, and paste that command, run. So install this command, pip install Django Rest Framework. So mine is taking some time. It's gonna be done. Okay, installed already. Mine is already installed. So after you've installed Django Rest Framework, come down again, just scroll down a bit. You can see in the installed apps you need to add REST Framework. So just copy this REST Framework, come down again. So we're gonna go down to settings.py file, which is inside of the CRUD projects. So just simply add REST Framework. So that's it for now. So we've installed Django Rest Framework and added it in our installed application. So next, now just go down to this tutorial here. We're gonna click on request and responses. Just try opening that, request and responses. So my internet is kind of slow where I am, but it's gonna open in less than no time. So we are on the page now, and yes, as I said, you should click on the request and the responses. So after I've clicked on that, just scroll down a bit. So what I need, you need to import these two, this second and third import. You need to import these two. So let me just make this big enough so you can see clearly for those on a small device. So we need to import this from Django Rest Framework, the decorators, import API view, and you're going to import response. So I'll show what they are used for. So just import these two, Ctrl C, just copy it, come down to your VS Code, open the views.py file for the API app. You understand? Open the views.py file. So you're going to paste this up here, Ctrl V. That's for the views.py file. So just save, and after you've done that, now we are going to go back again there, click on this tutorial. Now we are going to click on serialization. It's going to take some time again, but be patient. So serialization is open now. So you just scroll down, we need to import serializer. So we need to get it there now. So we need to also import this. Just copy this, Ctrl C, and come down to your VS Code and open serializer.py instead of the API app, and we'll paste this here. So this serializer.py works like the forms.py in normal Django project. The serializer.py works like forms.py in normal Django project. Understand? So now what we want to do now, we want to serialize data. We want to serialize this model we have here, this tax. We want to serialize it. Understand? So what we want to now, we are going to import this tax model into serializer.py. I remember this tax model is in a different application called crude app, so we need to import it into this serializer.py file. So let's do that right now. So we're going to simply do from crude app.models, we are going to import tax. So we've imported tax. So now we are going to create a class just like your normal forms.py, just like model forms. This works like model forms. So we're going to simply say class. I'm going to call this tax serializer, like a model form. We'll call it tax form. Just say tax serializer. So we are going to import from this serializer, just like we have forms.model form. We are going to call this serializers.model serializer. So let's just say serializers.model serializer, and after that do the class meta, just like the model form in normal Django project. So we are going to say the model is tax, and the fields, you know, we have only two fields. We just say all. Let's just say all for now. Underscore all underscore. So save. So those are the two things we need. So I want to make sure this is called tax. Let's check again. Models.py. Okay, we are correct. Okay, close it again. Okay, now we are through the serializer now. So now we are going to import this tax serializer into the views. So what I want to do now is I want to get all the to-dos we have. For example, we want to get everything. I'll make this big for you to see. So I want to get all these now. I want to get them out. I want to make them look like this. Okay, so let's go now to our views.py. So now we are going to import the tax serializer from this serializer.py into the view. So we're going to simply say from .serializer, and if you need the source code, check the description of the video. Check the description of this video, you find the source code. So it's from serializer, from .serializer. I can't spell this serializer, it's kind of Lizer. I'm going to import tax serializer. Understand? So now we're going to create a function. We're going to simply call this function get to-dos. You know, okay, get to-dos request. So we want to get all the to-dos we have in a serialized form. And this what we're going to do now is a simple get request. Because it's a get request, we are going to use this what we imported here. This at API. We just simply, this is a decorator. We just simply say at API underscore view. So we're trying to tell this. We're trying to say that this is a get request we are running on this function. So just put in the parent, the square bracket, and put in gets inside. So that's the function of this API view we imported. So now at API view now, so we're going to say tax is equal to. So now we're going to also import that tax from crude app. We're going to say from crude app dot models import tax. So now I'm going to simply say tax dot objects dot all. Understand? So now after that, you're going to create a new variable called serializer. You can call yours any name you like. We're going to call this serializer should be equal to. So we're going to use this tax serializer. I'm going to say tax serializer. We're going to put in this tax inside here. This tax is pointing to the tax stuff in the database. So we're going to put in this tax inside of this parenthesis. and we're going to say many should be equal to true. We are getting more than one tax. We're getting all the tax in our database. That's why we set many to true. If it's just a single tax, it's going to be many equal to false. So after we have done this now, we're going to simply return. We're going to return in normal Django project, return HTTP response. But in Django Rest Framework, we are going to be returning this response and not HTTP response or JSON response as we are used to. So I'm going to simply say return response. So now this serializer is going. What we have here is an object. So now we are going to return the actual data. We're going to simply say serializer.data. So serializer.data. So now we've created the views. So now we are done with the views now. After you've created a view, you need to create a URL to match the function you just created. So now just come down to urs.py file. Don't forget you're working inside of the API app, not the CRUD app. So open the urs.py file there. So now we're going to import the path from Django.urls, import paths, and we're going to also import the views. We're going to import the view module. We're going to say from import views. Now let's create the URL patterns. Because the URL patterns is going to be equal to a list. After that, now for the first function we have paths. The first function now we are going to say get to dos. Okay, we're going to say views dot. The name of our function is called get to dos. Views dot get to dos. Okay, so after we've done this now, we are not done yet. You need to go down to our project uri.py file and finish the configuration. So now instead of our project called CRUD, open the urs.py file we have there and just scroll down. Okay, just down here I'm gonna say paths. I'm gonna put in, so whenever we call this API slash, we're gonna be directed to the API app, which is this API dot urls. This API we have here is simply referring to this API we created here, and the .urls is the .urls inside of the API app. So save your work now. So now once we call this URL pattern with what we have here, we should have all the to-dos in serialized form. So let's see. So let's say we're working with port 80001. I'm going to say API slash get to dos. So enter. So just hope there is no mistake. Oh, you can see our page is down. I don't know why mine is taking time to load. So I think I need to run the server. The page is down. So let's see, it's trying to. Okay, the page is down. So okay, I need to run server. Let's Python manage.py run server 8001. So server is running again. So be patient, the beats. Please do fast. So let's try again. Page is trying to come up. The server is not yet ready. So I think everything is working fine now. Okay, refresh the page again. Still taking time. Watch closely now. You can see now we have all our to-dos in serialized form now. You can see thanks to Django Rest Framework, you can see it looking good, whereby you can just come in here and make use of our APIs. Understand? So we have the to-dos in serialized form thanks to the Django Rest Framework now. So if I switch to normal JSON, you're gonna see how it's gonna look like. It's gonna look kind of ugly. Okay, let's see how it's gonna look like in normal JSON. You can see how it looks like. Not as beautiful as we want, but not bad. But due to Django Rest Framework, we have it like this. So this is for the first function, whereby we are getting all the to-dos in the backend. All this we have here. understand? So what I want to do now is getting the individual to do. Whenever I get to a particular ID, I get a single to do. So let's go do that right now. So now so we're just gonna copy this now, Ctrl C, and we'll paste this down, Ctrl V, and we'll change some things now. So we're going to get to do by their ID. So I'm going to put in a PK here, a primary key PK. So I'm going to say tags. It's going to be equal to tags.object.get ID equal PK. So after we've done this, now serializer is going to be equal to tag serializer. We are pointing to these tags and all the tags. We're going to say many should be equal to false. Okay, after we've done that, so now we're going to return. Okay, everything is fine. So let's go create the URL for this. So create the URL pattern for this. So I'm going to simply say paths. I'm going to simply do get to do slash views dot get to do. So save your work. Make sure you change this to okay. Everything should be fine now. So now give out to the browser again, and once we move down to this, I'm gonna close some of these things we have here. So once we get down to 12/8001, and we say get to do slash, let's pick 13 as the ID, 13. But before I proceed, since I forgot to add the PK in the URLs, so we should have this XTR PK. Okay, so that's all we need to do now. So refresh this page. So says send this. Oh no, we had an error. Okay, I seen the mistake. We should have done API slash. So we should have done API slash get to do slash, let's say 13. Okay, here's a single to do now. You understand? Single to do, you can see. So now that's it now. So next one I want to create now. I want to create a function. That is going to, for example, we've been able to retrieve all the to-dos. We've been able to get individual to-dos. Now we want to now work on creating a to-do, just like a create application. So the next function I'm going to create now is how to create to-dos. Understand? So now let's work on creating to-dos now. So just simply copy this again, Ctrl C. This is going to be slightly different from the ones. This is going to be different from the ones we've been doing before. So paste here. So it's going to be a post request because we are trying to create. So we are trying to send data to the backend. So it's going to be a post request now. So this is not good. We're going to remove these tags. So this serializer is going to be equal to tag serializer. We're going to remove this. But now we're going to simply say data. We're going to simply say data should be equal to request dot data. Be just like our normal form, whenever we say request dot post. Whenever we are trying to send data using a form, we say request dot post in normal forms. But in serializers here, what we are saying is request dot data. So we simply see, we now say if serializer dot is underscore valid. So we are going to save the serializer. I'm going to simply say serializer, just like normal form, serializer dot save. As simple as that. And we are going to return back the data we sent to the backend. So that's how it is. So now we just simply go down to our URL.py file, create a URL pattern once more. I'm going to simply say paths. I'm going to call this create to do. Okay, we're going to simply say views, and since I didn't change the name of my views, it's gonna be called create to do. Remove the X. Let's make the naming proper. Create to do. So it's gonna be create to do and views dot create to do. So save now. Okay, that done already. Yep. So now go down to the browser. So I'm gonna close one of these and let's go down to that 127. Make sure put 8001 API/create. I'm not sure of my URL again. Okay, create to do. Create to do. So go. Okay, now I want to create a to do. You can see we are being given a form. So I'll simply copy one of these now. Copy this. Come down here and paste. So now let's create a new to do. Now I'm going to call this. I'm going to say visit Uncle Richie, Uncle Richard. Richard, and I'm gonna give this an ID of let's see normal IDs we have here. I'm gonna give this an ID of 19. So let's save. I'm gonna post now. You can see it has been created. So come down to the list we have here. You see it's gonna be update serial. It's not at 18. So let's refresh the page. You can see we have 19. So you can see we just created a new to do now. You understand? So you can see how simple it is. So next thing I'm going to do now is that we are going to work on updating to dos. Now we've been able to build. We have been able to get all to dos, get individual to dos. Now create to dos. Now I want to work on updating to dos. You understand? So let's do that right now. So now let's create a new function called update to do. So let's simply say at API underscore view. So this is going to be a put request. So it's going to be a put request. You can so let's make it put or posts. Put or post. That's going to be in our next video. I'll show you why it's put or post in the next tutorial. So watch out for that. So now let's create this function. If you're not subscribed to Codeless Clinton, please subscribe. So let's call this function updates to do, and we're going to call this request, just like a normal updating of data in forms, just like in normal Django way. We're going to do that. We're going to stay put in PK again. We're going to get each to do by their ID. We're going to simply say tags should be equal to tags.objects get ID equal PK. So after we've done that now, so now we're gonna also this serializer once more. I'll simply copy this to save time. Ctrl C, paste here, and after that we're gonna just like in our Django, in our model forms, we usually put in instance whenever we are trying to update something. We usually put in the instance attribute instead of the form. So you're going to simply say instance should be equal to these tags we created. So now after we've done that, now simply say if serializer is valid, if serializer dot is underscore valid. So we're going to save the serializer dot save. After that, we are going to return the data. We'll say return response serializer dot data. It's as simple as that. Oh, there's an error somewhere. Okay, there should be a comma in between. So hope the error is going to disappear. Okay, perfect. So now we're going to create URL pattern for this. So let's copy this one that is kind of similar. Ctrl C, paste now. So I'm going to say get to do. I'm going to call this update to do, rather update to do, and the view is going to be called updates to do. So save now to the browser. I'm going to try everything. So I'm going to say one and updates to do. So I'm going to put in a peak and the ID. I forgot to put in the API again. API slash, oh no, one API slash updates to do slash, let's say 13. Okay, so I want to update particular to do. So from our list of to do, I'm going to copy this 13th one, copy the JSON form, copy, come down here, I'm going to paste here. Just say write some lines of code. Just simply put updated. You just simply say write some lines of code in Python. So save, just posts. So let's see, come down here, refresh the page. You can see now it just changed from write some lines of code. Now it's now write some lines of code in Python. We are making progress. So the last function I'm going to work on is the delete function, whereby you can delete to those just from just the way we have been doing. So let's do that right now. So now let's create the last function called the delete functionality. Let's create it now. So at API view once more. So we're going to listen for a delete. So we're going to check out for deletes now. So let's simply do deletes. So create this function now called, let's say def delete to do. Say requests, and I'm going to put in the primary key pk. So we're going to get to those by their ID. Let's simply say tags should be equal to tags dot objects dot get ID equal to pk. So we're going to simply say tags dot delete. After that, we are going to return response. I'm going to simply say tags. We're going to simply say to do deleted successfully. Okay, and save your work. So now let's create the URLs for this. Okay, just come down here, copy this, kind of similar. We'll call this deletes to do, and it's going to be called deletes. Deletes. Save. Okay, that done. Okay, come off the browser now. So 12 API slash deletes to do. Let's delete to do number 14. Let's see, or which is am I gonna delete? I'm gonna say I'm gonna delete to do number 16. It's over here. 16, which is play chess. If you not play chess like me, so click OK. So let's click on delete. See, it asks, are you sure you want to delete this to do? Just say delete, and you can see our response says to do deleted successfully from what we added here. You can see, understand? So let's go down to the browser again, refresh the page. You can see to do number 16 is gone, so we have 13, 14, 16 is gone. So we've come to the end of this video. Now I'm going to show you the list of URLs that users can use to get data from our database. I'm going to show you, so here are the URLs that users can use. Okay, so we've come to the end of this tutorial where we're able to serialize our data. You can see data is looking in serialized form. just the way I told you. So now let me show you something. Here are the list of URLs that users can use to fetch data from our database. You understand? This URL we have here, you can use it to get all the to-dos we have in the database. This one, if I say /id, you can use it to get individual to-do. This one, you can use it to create to-do. The third one is for creating to-do. The fourth one for updating a particular to-do /id and delete. And the last one, which is to delete a to-do. Delete to-do. Let's put /id, correlating them individually. You can see these are the list of the APIs that outsiders can use to access our data in the database. Understand? So we've come to the end of this video. I really wish to enjoy this. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how external applications can access our data using these APIs we created. That's going to be in the next video. I showed you something like this, whereby I built an independent front end to do application that fetches data from my Django backend using the APIs I showed you how to make in this video. So that will be the next video. So anticipate the video. It's gonna be light, it's gonna be lit. So thank you for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, why not subscribe? Why not smash the like button for me? Understand? So see you in the next video. Bye bye. And the source code for this project is in the description of the video. Check out for it. Bye bye. Take care. I love you.